soft wind, distant footsteps, a low, mournful hum. In the late 1960s, as the world watched men walk on the moon, another story unfolded quietly on Earth, one marked not by triumph, but by silence. In markets that once rang with laughter, the air grew still. In villages where children once ran barefoot through red earth, hunger became a constant companion. And in a land called Biafra, survival itself became an act of resistance. How did a modern nation descend so quickly into catastrophe? And how did one of the worst humanitarian disasters of the 20th century unfold while the world largely looked away? Before we begin, consider subscribing for more historical deep dives that challenge memory and restore forgotten truths. This is the story of the Biafra Genocide, a crime against humanity. Camera glides over colonial-era maps of West Africa. Nigeria, as it emerged from British colonial rule in 1960, was not a single nation bound by shared identity, but a delicate construction of over 250 ethnic groups stitched together by imperial design. At its core were three dominant regions: the House of Fulani in the north, the Yoruba in the west, the Igbo in the east, each with distinct cultures, political systems, and economic priorities. British colonial administration deepened these divisions, governing regions separately and favoring indirect rule in the north while encouraging Western education and commerce in the east. By independence, the imbalance was profound. The Igbo, highly educated and commercially mobile, spread across Nigeria, thriving in civil service, trade, and industry. But success bred resentment. Economic competition hardened into ethnic suspicion. Nigeria was independent, but not united. Military boots echo on concrete. Radio static crackles. In January 1966, Nigeria's fragile democracy collapsed. A military coup, led largely by young Igbo officers, assassinated key political leaders. Though not an ethnic coup in intent, it was perceived as one. Retaliation followed swiftly. In July 1966, a counter-coup erupted, and with it, systematic massacres of Igbo civilians in northern Nigeria. Men, women, and children were targeted not for what they had done, but for who they were. Trains arrived in the east carrying survivors, traumatized, wounded, and silent. Conservative estimates placed the death toll at tens of thousands. The Nigerian state failed to protect them. Trust collapsed. Lieutenant Colonel Chukwemeka Odimagu Ojukwu, military governor of the eastern region, faced an impossible choice: remain within a nation that could not guarantee safety, or leave. On May 30th, 1967, the eastern region declared independence as the Republic of Biafra. Nigeria responded with force. Low drumbeat, aerial shots of encircled territory. The Nigerian Civil War began in July 1967. What followed was not merely a military campaign, but a total blockade. Land, sea, air, food supplies were cut off, medicine restricted, relief flights denied. Starvation became strategy. International observers, aid workers, and journalists documented the consequences. Children with hollow eyes, families reduced to shadows of themselves, not through drought, but through policy. The Nigerian government insisted it was preserving national unity. Yet unity was enforced through deprivation. Despite appeals, major global powers, Britain, the Soviet Union, continued to supply arms to Nigeria. Geopolitics outweighed human lives. France offered quiet support to Biafra, not out of humanitarian concern alone, but strategic rivalry. Biafra stood isolated. Soft ambient village sounds. A child's distant cough. History is not only shaped by leaders, but endured by ordinary people. A mother measures cassava powder carefully, dividing it among her children. A teacher abandons the classroom to farm a small plot of land between air raids. Doctors perform surgeries by lantern light, improvising tools from scraps. These moments were repeated millions of times. Despite everything, Biafra built schools, hospitals, even local industries under siege. Radio Biafra broadcast hope into the darkness, reminding people they were not forgotten. even if the world remained silent. Faith, community, and ingenuity became lifelines. This was not merely a war zone. It was a society struggling to survive. Estimates of those who died range from 1 to 3 million people, the majority civilians, many of them children. Whether labeled genocide or mass atrocity, the outcome remains undeniable. A population was destroyed not only by bullets, but by hunger. To this day, the Nigerian state rejects the genocide label. But history is not decided by official statements alone. It is measured by evidence, patterns, and lived experience. The blockade, the targeted massacres, the intent to break a people's will through deprivation. These facts continue to fuel debate and demand remembrance. Modern aerial shots of southeast Nigeria. The war ended, but its echoes remain. Economic marginalization, political exclusion, unresolved grief passed through generations. Movements for self-determination continue to draw from Biafra's memory, not out of nostalgia, but unresolved injustice. Globally, Biafra reshaped humanitarian law, media ethics, and the understanding of starvation as a weapon of war. Yet remembrance remains uneven. To forget Biafra is to accept silence as policy. The story of Biafra is not only about the past. It is about what happens when power goes unchecked and humanity becomes negotiable. It asks us difficult questions. Who is remembered? Who is mourned? And who decides? History does not demand guilt, but it demands honesty. Because remembrance is not revenge. It is responsibility. Tell us your thoughts in the comments section. Thank you for watching.